it was somehow when I was in my early 20s, I always had the idea in my head, if there's something which is not comfortable for me, or let's say a technical idea or something which is far away from me, then I had the feeling I have to go to this direction, because this is not nature to me. I have to learn that. And the big change for me was that things which are nature for me, which are comfortable for me, that's the direction I should go to and to develop my stuff.
Good morning.
Good morning, hi.
Hi, Georg. It's so great to meet you on Zoom.
So great to see you.
Georg, but are you originally from Vienna?
I am originally from Carinthia, which is in the south of Austria, and from a small village, Gurk. And then I started to study in Graz, and then finished my master's in Vienna, and then I stayed in this beautiful city.
Yeah, I see you've done a lot here in Vienna. This is why I wondered, if this is, but it must be home for you now because you've spent so much time here.
Yes, it feels like home. I have to say it took some time because Vienna is different from the rest of Austria, and also Viennese people can feel at the beginning. For me personally, it was a little bit rough, and I got used to this kind of charming Viennese lifestyle, I have to say. Yeah.
I'm so glad you say that, because I spoke to a fashion designer just earlier in the week, and he's from Serbia, and he said exactly the same thing. It took him a little time to just adjust, to this way of them welcoming you. So I'm trying to say as polite as possible.
Yes.
But coming from this small little village, would we say it's a little village in Austria? Where was that where the music started for you? Did you do music lessons at school?
I would say I come from a musical family. My father was a teacher, but he was also conductor of choirs we had in the valley, let's say like this. Yeah. And so I got in touch with music very early, and yes, I think my father taught me when I was 5 the flute for 1 year, and then I changed to piano. And yes, when I was a teenager, when I was a child, I think at that time I thought of becoming, or let's say my family thought of me becoming a pianist. Maybe
really?
I always felt that music is that thing for me, but I think I already sensed when I was a child, piano is not the right instrument. So I was then lucky, that somehow I found my way to singing. Yes.
So in the choir, when you sang in the choir, did you then also realize that you had a voice, or that you had a good voice, or was it more the love of singing?
That's an interesting question, because where we have a big tradition for let's say traditional choir music, and at that moment I was singing and I was also singing in a choir of my father, and still I would say that people there, they don't really think about becoming a professional singer, and I think that was also not an idea that I had, and I think still for some people there, it's not easy to understand or how to study singing. And at that time I was very often singing for myself, and it was not classical singing from the beginning, because listened to pop music. I sang a lot of pop and this stuff for myself, because I was too shy actually to really think about taking a lesson and to stand in front of a person who would judge my singing. Actually, yes, it took some time.
But amazing always when I hear people started out singing in choirs, because I think choirs bring about, and this is what I also hear from everybody, is this feeling, this community feel, you know, and this togetherness feeling and so on. So you actually develop something there without you even knowing. If you say you haven't thought of it, then I'm thinking, okay, so all this, all the things around it makes you actually develop into something that you don't realize at the time. Yes,
of course. Mm-hmm. And that's sometimes I thought of it of maybe not positive thing to be in a family or being in a surrounding where people doesn't think about becoming a professional musician. But now I really think it was a great time actually, because there was nobody forcing me. You should decide now what instrument and you will be and you should be. I was just I could just somehow grow, and then I found out what my talents and gifts are, and I think it was when I went to Graz, I started studied before 1 year piano, but there I started music education because somebody told me, then you see the whole range of possibilities, maybe conducting, maybe composing or something like that. But then for the first time, because I had to sing there in front of people, and for the first time, people saw and heard that I was talented. And it was maybe my little dream inside of me, and I was never really sure about to really show it. But I think I was then old enough when I was 19 or 20, yes, to be brave enough to show it. Yeah, and then the journey started.
And then but it's a journey that's also comes with a lot of pressure and comes with a lot of stress involved. So maybe it's a good thing that you could easily, that you could be more relaxed into getting there, and to not, as a child, feeling this force and this tension to get there.
Yes, exactly. I see it in the past. I saw some of my colleagues who were born in musicians' families, and I always thought, oh, they have so many possibilities, and they have their parents they could talk with or can talk with professionally, and they're guiding them. But I think that's still something very positive, that my families they know what I'm doing, but they don't care so much if I sing, I don't know, in the Elbphilharmonie or if I sing at home in the valley. So yes, I think that's actually a good thing. I never thought of that. It took many years to think of it like that, because it wasn't always like that. But now I really I know that it's something really precious. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no, I agree. And I actually spoke to an opera singer before, also a while ago, where she said her parents knew so little of singing and opera that anything she did, they were so happy for her. And that actually encouraged her so much, because it was like, okay, they're supporting her and they're believing in her, and she really needed that. So, yeah. But tell me now, so you did then your training at Graz, and how did that develop?
Yes, it was. I was really lucky, because I did my entrance exam for music education, and then there was a teacher or a professor hearing me, and she was also teaching professional students or students who would become professionals. So she took me because she saw my talent, and then she prepared me for the entrance exam for singing, and I was yes, over the moon, and I was really happy. And in that year, I worked through a lot of music, and my, let's say, entrance composer or entrance music was always song, klassisches Lied. And also when I was, I think, 15 or 16, I once accompanied on the piano a young tenor, and I accompanied a Schubert song. And it was, I think that's when I started to develop my wish to become a singer. It was from the beginning really a lead song. And still Schubert is one very special composer to me, and means a lot to me. I think it was really the wish to sing his music and to sing leads, that guided me through. But then in Graz, I got into my singing studies, and then it took a while to find out. Also, it's always a question of finding the right teacher, finding a teacher who is supporting, I don't know how to say it, your voice, the true voice and the true thing inside yourself. And I experienced also a little bit of, sometimes it fell into copying other singers, and also I was a little bit guided into that direction of my teacher, who said, yes, now you're studying, and now just listen to Brunterfell, which is a wonderful bass baritone. But I was 20 years old, and I was far away from sounding like him. So it took a while. It took many years for me to trust myself even more than teachers' opinions. And I think that was the point when it really started. When I was 25, I was still in Graz, and my father died, and it was
so sorry,
quite unexpected, and this also was quite of a turning point for me, and it was maybe also the reason for me to do my master's in Vienna, and yes, leave some stuff behind and having a fresh start, and it was a good decision. Yeah.
Well, that what you're saying now is actually what I spoke to yesterday to Paul Jenkins. He's a jazz musician, and he almost said the same thing, that he needed to find his sound. He's a trumpet player, and he needed to find his sound. And the teacher actually said it to him, find your sound, and he found it so difficult, but he did find it, and also in his mid-20s, and from there on, he felt more comfortable in what he was doing. So did it feel for you also that way? Yes.
It was somehow, when I was in my early 20s, I always had the idea in my head, if there's something which is not comfortable for me, or let's say a technical idea or something which is far away from me, then I had the feeling I have to go to this direction, because this is not nature to me. I have to learn that. And the big change for me was that things which are nature for me, which are comfortable for me, that's the direction I should go to, and to develop my stuff. It was from the beginning somehow a wrong idea, because I thought, the things I don't understand, these are the things that I should learn. All let's say the technical stuff, and then I found out it's not the teachers that are good for me that I don't understand. It's the teachers where things are clear, and that's something I realized. And then I was lucky in Vienna finding right people, and still I have during pandemic I've found a great coach who's also, which was also good for me during pandemic, to having some aim, let's say like this, and who's still supporting me, and where I have the feeling that he searching for the truth, and then not only the truth of the voice or the instrument, but also emotional truth, and goes much deeper.
But now in this profession, there is a lot of pressure on the singers, and of course in Vienna you are a lot of amazing singers. So you are really amongst very talented people like yourself. But how easy is it to stick to that, to who you are, to be true to who you are, and be confident that this is the way, this is the right way to do it?
That's a very good question, and of course you're completely right. And I think it can easily happen, of course, if you just see people around you, and it can easily happen that you lose your own way. And I think for me, I think during my singing life, it will be a lifelong journey to always find back to my way, and it's my way of singing, it's my way of how my, let's say, career is working. And I think there are different approaches, and mine is that it's not just that I try to say I'm glad for everyone else's success. I grow into really, really believing that, and it's not just something I say. Yes, I'm happy for you. I grew into being honestly glad and happy for everyone's success, and I'm happy to be in Vienna and having really great musicians around me. It took some time. It's still, I think it's always work, but in the past, when I wasn't true to myself on stage, I had a very bad feeling afterwards. That's something that I experienced in the past when I saw somebody in the audience, and I thought, okay, I should do it like this or do it like that to convince him or her. I always had a very bad feeling afterwards, that I was not honest and not true to myself. And maybe this feeling is guiding me to stay honest to my way and my approach.
Yeah.
Lässt wieder Busch und Tal still mit Nebelglanz, lösest endlich auch einmal meine Seele ganz, breitest über mein Gefühl, lindert deinen Blick, wie des Freundes Auge mit über mein Geschick.
Because it is true, and also in Vienna, I mean, of course there are many opportunities, but there are also many singers, and there are also many people to compete for the same position or the same job or the same performance. So how important is it to be in this environment, or is it easier to go somewhere where there's less competition?
That's also a good question. I'm not, of course, I live in Vienna, and our girlfriend is also now moving, and we're moving together in Vienna, so we will stay in Vienna for the next years. So a lot of my work is happening in Vienna, but it's not. I would be glad to, like before pandemic, to be a little bit more internationally active. It happened, and I was lucky, of course, that it happened during pandemic. That it a little bit more. I came to opportunities more in Vienna than before, which is actually a good thing. But I would like to do more stuff also internationally. So I think the surrounding in Vienna is, for me, I see it I see it as a positive thing. It's nothing that I'm stressed about. But honestly saying, when I was in my 20s, of course, I was stressed, and there was always some external, external pressure to go and to work hard and to when there are auditions and you meet other people, there was always a kind of competition. But somehow I came now to the opinion that maybe that's a little bit of a difference between music and sports, and that every musician and especially every singer is completely different. Yeah. And of course you can compare it, and there could be a music director, and there could be, I don't know, people who have the taste, who know what they are searching for, and I understand that, and I just show, and I just produce, and what is happening, or what comes out in the moment of, for example, an audition. And I think I'm my own, not worst, but hardest critic. So I don't anymore, have to say, care so much about if an audition is working or not working, because I know quite well how I perform, and how the atmosphere in the performance or audition is. So I'm not so much. It's not such an influence to me as it was before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's also it's good that you mentioned that, because it is true that the director, it's out of your control really what they're looking for, and so you just have to go and be yourself and give what you can give, and what more can you do? Yes. That is fortunately and unfortunately, that is part of art, isn't it? It's what people are interested in, and what they, and like Seth Godin always says, you have to accept that you're not for everyone.
I think that's a very important point.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the past, I thought, oh, what would the audience think about, but somehow I see myself now more as a mirror to the audience, because everyone goes into a concert with his or her thoughts and expectations and taste, and you cannot control that. It's out of your control. As you mentioned before, it's just the only thing you can do is be true to yourself in the moment of performance.
Nachklang fühlt mein Herz froh und trüber Zeit, wandelt zwischen Freud und Schmerz in der Einsamkeit.
Also perfectionism. Of course, there's my will to work on my singing, and because it's also the reason is because I want to serve the music in the best way. So that's my approach to that, and it's not I want to be, I don't know, I want to grow as a singer and in technique and stuff, so that the audience would say, or all the audience would say, yes, that's a proper singer. It's because that's also external pressure, and I think the aim should be inside, and to accept that tastes are different, and that's it. Yeah.
And it's amazing that you say that, because it is true that in the end of the day, it's about the message that the audience receive, or that the audience would be touched by the performer, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And that's why people go to the theater. They don't go to the theater really to judge or because I think most of the audience members, they don't know the perfect technique, but they have a natural sense of what is beautiful and what sounds right to them.
Yes, you're completely right. And it's always what is what's happening inside of the performers in the moment. That's what people get. And of course, if there's somebody who's only thinking about controlling his voice and thinking about stuff, that's what people get. And I think that's also something I work on, is to really stay in the moment, and luckily it works quite well for me, that I don't think, because people sometimes ask me, what do you think when you're on stage? What do you think when you give a recital? And luckily it's because maybe of meditation or stuff I'm doing, that this works quite well. And I was reading a newspaper article about a recital I gave last year, and it was written, he was singing through the whole cycle, deeply concentrated. And I thought, okay, he could see it like that. I don't see it as concentrated. I see it as not being concentrated at all, and not trying to, and not, and it's, so my approach is, but ways are different, is that being able to go on stage, being as well prepared that you just can let things happen, and that music and text is just coming, and that there's kind of audience and performers somehow all together are experiencing something in the moment. I think that's my aim, and that's my personal aim of perfection, actually, also.
Well, that's beautifully said, really. But you talk about meditation, and I've also read that you didn't leave the piano behind. You still use the piano to do meditation. Is that right?
That's interesting. Yes, it's. I started it in 2020. It was a pandemic thing, and I thought, because I was a member of that app, and then I just thought, okay, I could do some piano meditations. And it was, at the beginning, I just thought I sit at the piano, I think about a certain topic, and then I just look what my fingers are doing. And then I recorded it, and then I found out, okay, somehow there are people who like it, and it's something I don't do anymore now, but it's still online, and I thought of it as a special way to it, because it's not only meditation music, it's kind of a guided meditation through music, and to go into a topic and go through it, let's say like this. And I think it was part of creative output during pandemic that I also needed, I have to say.
No, but how amazing, because a lot of people, this is what I found so amazing from artists, that they suddenly channeled their energy and their creativity into other directions. You know, some started baking, some started cooking and making pasta, and this what you did was amazing. You know, and also it must have benefited you as well while doing it. That that you felt this meditation.
Yes, true. It was all also. So the whole recording process, it was meditation to me at the time. And of course, when I look back, it's because you can say in Austria, musicians or freelancing artists, of course there was financial support, but still it was a tough time. You cannot just say, okay, there were singers who then started baking. It's great, or artists who then started baking or doing other stuff. I think it was still, when I look back, it was a tough time, and it took some time for me to recover from it and to go back into the wheel of how the world is working, and yes. So it, of course, it helped me, but still. Looking back, pandemic was a tough time. Yeah.
I know I did this project where I photographed 500 artists in their windows, and I spoke to most of them, and that was always the conversation we had. Was like some of them, would say to me, "I've waited 2 years for this, for singing in the Musikverein, and then on the day of the rehearsal they shut the concert hall," and it was these stories of people really who have worked towards something, and then suddenly everything was taken away. And I think that was, like you say, there was a little bit of financial support, but I think it was the psychological thing of,
Yes.
okay, where now? Because I've been working my whole life. It's not like, I've just studied 2 years. It's like yourself, you started as a child singing. So it's a long journey to reach where you are now, and then for it suddenly to have stopped. I think that was what normal people, I say normal people, but what people in the art industry, it was not like, oh, I can suddenly now do home office, or I can do takeaways for my business, things like that. It was really the theaters were closed, and the artists, their hands were tied.
Yes, it was much more of a fundamental thing, and I also think that yes, politics or politicians or people who are not musicians. I think they didn't could really understand how tough it was. It was funny because in March when pandemic started, 2020, I somehow I found a book about Taoism, and it helped me through somehow to accept because of course it was frustrating. Things that are planned. I had my whole plan for the next year. Yeah, and everything was cancelled, and nobody knew what would happen. And I tried to just work on accepting things that are at the moment, and not being too much frustrated, and the feeling of you have nothing in your control, and that was the hard thing. Yes.
I know 2 of my children were ballet dancers, and they found it also extremely difficult because they're so used to moving, and they are so used to going to the studio and being amongst their colleagues, and there weren't so many facets of that they had to deal with. I was aware then suddenly of, okay, yes, but they're so used to being with other people, they're so used to moving, they're so used to physically feel their bodies in a certain way, and then suddenly now it all stopped. So I think in every art form there was a different experience of what the pandemic brought, but I do think a lot of positive came out of it as well.
True. You're completely right. Yeah, and I think that there was a lot of positive and creative output at that time. So that's of course the positive thing. And I would say somehow I had the possibility also for me as a person, as an individual, also as a singer at the times to reflect and to think about and asking the big questions. What am I doing, and why am I doing it? And it made me more sure about what I need to do, and then I need to make music. And I think it's sometimes it's important. Of course, it shouldn't have been something like a pandemic, but it also it was a time to reflect also. So that was also a positive thing.
Yeah. A lot of artists said that to me, that they really asked the question, is this really what I want to do? And then the moment they got their answer, it was like there was peace, like, okay, no, I'm doing it. Yeah. So, but do you do anything outside your singing? Do you do some kind of sport or other activity?
Yes, I think 4 years ago or 5 years ago, started to do Tai Chi, which is, I wouldn't say that it's sports. I would say it's because it's kind of slow motion, kind of fighting actually, it's like a slow motion choreography that you step by step learn. And that was a completely different experience in comparison to yoga, for example, because a lot of musicians and of my colleagues doing yoga, because it's just good for the muscles and the posture and stuff. But Tai Chi, it was I've just luckily found a master from I think he's original from from the States, and he has his own master still, meeting him in China, and so it's kind of a traditional thing and really a serious thing for him. It's not like we're doing something for our body. It's really serious stuff, and it helped me a lot. It's still helping me a lot because it's you're somehow aligning your whole body, and it's wonderful for your breathing, and wonderful for your mind, for your let's say to get into a no mind experience, let's say like this. So yes, I can really recommend feats.
Really?
Yes, just this kind of
thing. Yeah. And can you feel that also, say, when you're performing, can you feel there's a difference? Can you feel that you have a different control over being on stage and nerves and things like that affects you?
Yes. It's I think what also my coach is always saying, you just need to trust. It's easily said. It helped me, or is still helping me to not try to grab on I don't know, mental stuff when going on stage, and try to control, and to more trust in a kind of indirect control. I once heard an interview of Piotr Beczała, the great Polish tenor, who also talked about leaving the direct control behind and just trusting into a kind of indirect control, that you somehow watching yourself and trusting that the body's working, and that's kind of somebody else watching and indirectly controlling what you're doing. And so I think that she helped me in that way, and also to being able and to trust to go. Also, I can remember I did some opera premieres, really not easy stuff and music, and it helped me to go on stage, not trying to have all the music in my head, but to go on stage feeling empty and trusting that it will work and it will come. So it helps.
Interesting. Yeah. But Georg, this is amazing, your story, and but what are your wishes for the future?
Good question. I think I thought about that you would maybe ask this. I
love to ask people that, because I also, after all the 700 interviews I've done so far, I sometimes hear people's wishes came true. So I think I love when they've said it here on my channel and they came true. Then I think it's good. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that's great.
So go for it.
Of course. So I have the feeling now that I'm on my right path or on my right journey, and I would just wish that this journey and this also development and improvement just continues like that. When I was a little bit younger, I always had aims. I wanted to sing in Musikverein and blah blah blah, and somehow when things then came true, it didn't feel that great afterwards. So I'm not. My aim is. I would say maybe my wishes are more to continue having the possibility to work with great artists, with great colleagues. Like, for example, last week I was in Vicenza in Italy, and I had the chance again to work with András Schiff as a conductor, with the pianist, and it was a wonderful experience. So my wish is that this journey just continues, and that I have the possibility to make music on the opera stage, and also as a lead song singer, and also on doing interesting concerts that are good for me, good for my voice, and yes, just to grow into what grow aligned with my gifts and with my abilities, actually. Yeah.
And it's so great that you said that about also working with other people, because I think that's also where we get the inspiration from, you know,
Yes.
when you start. So it's not just the building that you want to sing in, but with other people. That's so great.
Yes, that's something I enjoy so much. If there's a great orchestra where there are really good musicians and they are listening, and you have the feeling you all together create some sound cloud, some atmosphere, and including the audience even. And I think that's also the reason why I work quite a lot on my singing and on stuff, to just have these possibilities to make good music and interesting music with great people.
Amazing. Well, it's wonderful talking to you, Georg, and thank you so much for sharing your story with me. These interviews, they, like your story, it always inspire me so much, and I also love hearing that. So, but well done for everything you've achieved and still will be achieving.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It's a great pleasure.
Fühlst wieder Busch und Tal still mit Nebelglanz, lösest endlich auch einmal meine Seele ganz, breitest über mein Gefühl, lindert deinen Blick, wie des Freundes Auge mied über mein Geschick. Zwischen Freud und Schmerz in der Einsamkeit. Fließe, fließe, lieber Fluss, nimmer werd ich froh. So verrauscht der Scherz und Kuss und die Treue so. Labyrinth der Brust wandelt ihn